Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her infamous 22 number to...
You are not ready for this one. A story just broke inside women's basketball that is so chaotic, so explosive, and so unbelievable that fans are still trying to figure out if it's even real. But trust me, it's real, and it's spiraling fast. Sue Bird, a global icon, a four-time champion, a living legend, just suffered what can only be described as a public meltdown of historic proportions. Something snapped, and the entire basketball world felt the shockwave. And it all started because of one person, Caitlin Clark. According to multiple insiders, Caitlin has reportedly given Team USA an ultimatum so bold it stunned officials into silence. She told them she is done, completely finished with Team USA, if they do not let her wear her signature number 22 jersey. No backup plan. No compromise. No negotiation. And the moment Sue Bird heard this, she reportedly lost it, publicly, loudly, and in a way that has the entire sports world glued to this unfolding crisis. Right now, the managing director of Team USA is scrambling behind closed doors, trying desperately to control a situation that is blowing up faster than they can contain it. This isn't petty locker room drama. This could become the biggest identity crisis in the modern history of USA basketball. Before we dive deeper, answer this. If you were Caitlin Clark, would you actually walk away from Team USA over a jersey number? Because what's happening right now might change the future of women's basketball forever.
Because we ultimately know she was snubbed from the cover of Team USA. And not only is they snubbing her, the disrespect is continuing because it's looking like Team USA is forcing Caitlin Clark to change her number. Now, this article has...
Let's not sugarcoat this. Team USA has officially thrown women's basketball into a full-blown, self-inflicted disaster. And the wildest part? Every ounce of this chaos is a mess they created on their own. The Federation made the stunning decision to strip Caitlin Clark, the biggest name, the most bankable star, the singular engine driving record-breaking attention to the sport of her trademark number 22 for the upcoming December training camp. According to insiders who are extremely plugged into the situation, Clark's reaction was immediate and unmistakable. If she can't wear her number, she's not coming. Period. Cue Sue Bird, Team USA's managing director, who is reportedly spiraling behind the scenes, scrambling to understand how something as simple as a number turned into a national storyline and a potential superstar walkout. But here's the key point everyone must understand. This isn't about digits stitched on a jersey. This is about respect, branding, and the recognition of a generational phenomenon. Caitlin Clark's number isn't just a preference, it's her identity. It's the symbol that millions of fans associate with the player who has done more for women's basketball in 18 months than the entire federation has done in a decade. And now Team USA is essentially telling her to leave that identity at the door. Fans are furious. Analysts are baffled. Sponsors are watching closely. And the biggest question out there is simple. Does Team USA even realize the magnitude of the star they're mishandling? Because right now, it looks like they absolutely do not.
Yeah, honestly, I'm not a very creative person. I was born on January 22nd, so it's what I went with when I was about 5 years old.
This entire situation exploded right as Team USA was preparing for what should have been a milestone moment, their highly anticipated training camp in North Carolina, set for December 12th to 14th. The event was designed to highlight the pinnacle of women's basketball, bringing together elite talents like Paige Bueckers, Juju Watkins, and a lineup stacked with future Olympians. It was meant to be a celebration, a showcase, a statement. But instead of excitement, the build-up has turned into chaos. Overnight, the camp shifted from a marquee gathering to the center of a controversy nobody saw coming, a decision so baffling that it may actually keep the sport's most influential star from showing up at all. Word began spreading that Caitlin Clark would not be allowed to wear her signature number 22, the number that became synonymous with her record-smashing college career and her electric impact in the WNBA. The move, coming right as her global popularity is exploding, felt like a direct slap in the face to the fan base that has carried women's basketball to unheard of heights. And Clark supporters are not taking it quietly. Social media has erupted with fans telling her to hold her ground, not to cave, not to let anyone strip away something so closely tied to her identity and brand. What should have been a celebration of stars has now morphed into a showdown, one fueled by frustration, shock, and a growing belief that Team USA just created a crisis entirely of their own making.
Made the Indiana Fever star Caitlin Clark. Number 22 is the most recognizable number in women's sports right now. There's no argument to be made. There's no case to be made. Caitlin Clark, number 22, is the most recognizable number for any woman athlete in.
Let's get one thing absolutely straight, because this is the heart of everything. Caitlin Clark's number 22 is not just a jersey number. It is the most iconic, recognizable, and powerful symbol in all of women's sports today. No exaggeration, no debate, no gray area. That number carries weight. It carries history. It carries a movement. From her record-shattering years at Iowa to her instant transformation of the Indiana Fever, 22 has become a signature, an identity so deeply tied to her that fans across the world associate the number with her before anything else. It's more than fabric. It's a signal, a stamp, a calling card. Whether fans are packed into the upper deck of a sold-out arena or watching from thousands of miles away, the moment they see that number, they know exactly who it represents. For millions, 22 isn't two digits, it's the symbol of a generational talent rewriting what's possible in real time. It represents her limitless shooting range that sends crowds into shock, her out-of-this-world passing vision, and the relentless competitive fire that has drawn massive audiences far beyond the typical basketball circle. Her brand, her rise, her story, every piece of it is intertwined with that number. This is why removing it isn't a small request. It's asking her to strip away part of the legacy she's building right in front of us. 23,735.
We're number 17 at Team USA training camp. On December 24th, news broke that Caitlin Clark will be taking a part in the training, which that's what we talked about at the beginning of the video. Now, this right here this came out this came out on the 24th. So these are the numbers, man. So head on over to Twitter and check this out real quick. So this is what was released right here. It says Lauren Betts. Hold on, here's the ages. Where's the number? Here we go, right here. So these are the numbers. Caitlin Clark. Let me blow this all the way up, man. I want to blow this all the way up so y'all can see this. So as y'all can see here, man, how did Caitlin Clark number will be changed? So who's wearing 22? Or if you guys remember, Michael Jordan wore number 45 in the Olympics. Caitlin, because it don't look like no one's wearing number 22.
Take a moment and really let this sink in. No other superstar in women's basketball is tied to a number the way Caitlin Clark is tied to 22. She owns that number. It's become part of her identity in the same way Michael Jordan became inseparable from 23 or Wayne Gretzky became eternal with 99. Asking her to abandon 22 at this stage of her career feels, to a lot of people, like an intentional attempt to weaken the bond she's built with her fan base. It's baffling, it's unnecessary, and it raises questions nobody can seem to answer, unless the answer is exactly what it looks like, a flex of authority. To many observers, it feels like a strategic effort to remind the fastest rising star in women's sports that Team USA still holds the power. That interpretation becomes even harder to ignore when you remember this isn't the first time the organization has made a move that seemed to diminish her impact. Earlier this year, she was left off the Olympic roster, a decision that stunned fans and analysts across the globe, especially considering the massive audiences she draws every time she steps on the court. People watched that snub happen with disbelief, and now this jersey controversy has only reignited suspicions that there may be a deeper resistance inside the program toward fully embracing the cultural phenomenon she has become. It's hard to find another explanation, because none of these decisions add up unless you acknowledge the possibility that some within USA basketball might actually feel threatened by how enormous her influence has become. She is bigger than the league. She is bigger than the federation. She is the singular force pulling unprecedented numbers, attention, and global interest into the sport. So, what number did they expect her to switch to? According to official reports, Team USA assigned her number 17 for the upcoming training camp. On its own, 17 doesn't mean anything at all. But that's exactly the issue. It's not 22. It holds no connection to her story, her accomplishments, or her brand. And forcing her into an entirely unrelated number, especially when she brings unmatched visibility and commercial value, raises a mountain of questions about what's really going on behind the scenes. You really have to wonder, was this an intentional move by the organization to flex its authority, to remind everyone who holds the power? Or was it simply a painfully tone-deaf, completely disconnected decision that shows a total misunderstanding of the cultural weight behind Caitlin Clark's brand? No matter which interpretation you choose, the message being sent to her feels unmistakably blunt. We make the rules here, and your star power doesn't change that. And according to multiple reports, Clark's response could not have been clearer. If that's how it is, then I'm not participating. What pushed her supporters over the edge, however, was another startling detail, one that changed the entire complexion of the controversy. Nobody on the Team USA training camp roster is wearing number 22. Not a single player. The number isn't reserved, it isn't retired, and it isn't claimed by a veteran with tenure. It's simply sitting there and used, untouched, and fully available. That detail turned what might have been perceived as a simple mix-up into something far more serious. Suddenly, this didn't look like a logistical oversight. It looked intentional. It looked personal. It looked like a decision made with full awareness of how central that number is to Clark's story. Because if the number is free, why force her out of it? There is no reasonable justification. There is no basketball logic. The explanation collapses instantly. And that's exactly why Clark reportedly drew a hard boundary. Now Sue Bird is left to manage the fallout. As the managing director of Team USA, she's the architect of the program's future, the person tasked with selecting this camp's roster, shaping the next generation, and keeping the system stable. Instead, she's now at the center of a storm that could have easily been avoided. Instead of leading a smooth, well-planned training camp, Sue Bird now finds herself scrambling to contain a crisis entirely created by Team USA's own decisions. Because let's be honest, trying to force the sport's biggest superstar to abandon something so central to her identity was always going to explode. And it did. Spectacularly. Reports describe Sue Bird's reaction as everything from irritated to downright alarmed. Behind the scenes, she's been racing to patch things up, searching for a compromise that keeps Caitlin involved without completely overturning whatever baffling internal rule sparked this situation in the first place. But here's the unavoidable reality. Caitlin Clark has all the leverage. All of it. She doesn't need Team USA. Team USA needs her. Caitlin has already shattered records, redefined what is possible in women's basketball, and become the most commercially powerful athlete the sport has ever produced. She's a global figure with or without an Olympic jersey. So what incentive does she really have to participate if doing so means her own federation disrespects her brand? Olympic prestige? She doesn't require it. International competition? She's already excelled at every stage. Representing her country? That pride fades quickly when the governing body treats you like you're disposable. And that's why this entire controversy has detonated. Team USA misplayed their hand, and Caitlin knows it. Now flip the situation around for a second. What happens if Caitlin Clark decides she's out? Team USA loses everything. They lose the biggest spotlight in women's basketball. They lose the one athlete who can turn any broadcast into a national event, who packs arenas to the roof, who brings in casual fans, global viewers, and record-breaking ratings. They lose the face of the sport's future. Sue Bird understands this better than anyone, which is why insiders say she's scrambling behind closed doors. This fiasco has exposed just how little leverage Team USA actually holds when stacked against someone with Caitlin's influence and reach. But this controversy isn't just about one number or one player. It's a glaring example of the deeper disrespect women athletes, especially those in the WNBA, are constantly battling against. It connects directly to the ongoing fight for better pay, safer working conditions, and even basic recognition of their worth. Because if Caitlin Clark, the most visible, most influential, most marketable star in the entire sport, can be treated this dismissively, what message does that send to everyone else? It reinforces the frustrations that players have been voicing for years. It highlights just how deeply rooted these issues still are, even at a time when women's basketball is finally exploding into mainstream popularity. Add in the tense negotiations surrounding the WNBA's collective bargaining agreement, plus the real threat of an upcoming lockout, and the picture becomes even clearer. Players are tired of being undervalued. They're tired of pulling the sport forward while receiving a fraction of the credit, support, and financial respect they deserve. And this Clark situation? It's gasoline on a fire that was already burning. This isn't just about a jersey number. It's part of a much bigger story about how top female athletes are often undervalued, underestimated, and forced to fight for basic respect. Caitlin Clark standing her ground sends a clear message to everyone watching. You don't have to accept disrespect, even if it comes from the sport's most prestigious organization. Yes, Caitlin isn't the only player to ever wear 22. Veterans like Aya Wilson and other elite talents have also donned the number, and historically, any potential conflicts were handled with mutual respect, graciously deferring when needed, especially during events like All-Star Games. It was never about taking away a player's defining number arbitrarily. Last year, the hypothetical clash between Clark and Wilson never materialized because Clark sat out due to injury. There was no actual conflict, no controversy, just a theoretical discussion. Yet this time, USA Basketball preemptively intervened, forcing Clark into a new number without any real reason. The result? A move that feels unnecessary, heavy-handed, and tone-deaf. When the official roster for the training camp was released, the world saw it in black and white, Caitlin Clark listed as number 7. Forcing a generational talent to abandon her iconic 22 sparked outrage and, reportedly, pushed Clark to draw a hard line, allegedly threatening to quit if she was forced to comply. Now Sue Bird is scrambling to contain a crisis entirely of Team USA's own making. The Federation learned the hard way that Clark isn't willing to compromise on her identity or brand, and this controversy is far from over. So, what do you think? Should Caitlin walk away or find a compromise? Drop your thoughts in the comments, hit like to get this story out there, and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes basketball drama. One thing is certain, this saga is far from finished.